I'm feeling quite reflective today, given the fact that we're coming to the end of 2021. And I thought it might be worthwhile to share with you 6 things that I personally did differently in 2021 that I'm definitely taking into 2022. The first one was, and I know lots of you who've met me in person or have heard me online, have heard me talk about this before, every day this year, every working day, I took an hour to think. And that was probably the biggest change that happened obviously in my daily life, because I had to factor that in, and definitely was very, very impactful as a result. I started doing this in the middle of December last year because I usually like to try out a couple of New Year's resolutions before I commit to see if they fit, and I've been doing that now again this December, but I particularly found this one to be really helpful. It was really enjoyable, and I found that really important things started to happen because I had the space to truly think through problems, consequences, outcomes, etc. And sometimes I would have something to think about, and sometimes I would just sit with, sounds a bit left of field now, but I didn't write in a notebook or anything. I wrote on serviettes because I had to tell my body that it was time to think. So I would always typically order the same breakfast there's a couple of different restaurants that I go to in the morning to think, and I would write on a serviette and I would order an Americano, and that was the way in which I told myself, right, this is now your thinking time. And what started to happen after a little while is that I got faster at it as well. I would become faster at thinking, faster at figuring things out, faster coming up with ideas, etc. And it is so enjoyable. So that was the number one thing that I did differently this year. The second thing is that I spent an awful lot more time asking more questions. I've always been a big believer in asking effective questions. I just did it a lot more this year in a variety of ways. So when we're working with our teenagers, I was asking them, and when I say I just want this to be a personal video today, but everything I'm talking about has been a company implementation. But I really was thinking, how can we help people more is understanding more of where they're coming from. So we ran a range of surveys with our teenagers, for example, and we learned an awful lot from them. For example, we found, based on our data of where we work now with thousands of teenagers every year, is that at this stage we can see that girls are 2.5 times less likely to think that there are future opportunities in technology than guys, for example. And I can tell you all sorts of things that we've learned about this generation. The number one worry that they have is that they're going to be in a career that they don't like in the future and feel stuck in it. So therefore, we really saw that we had to help them understand how to transfer skills and how to realise that your career can be long and that you can sometimes get sick of certain parts of it and you can take action accordingly. But that was certainly the second thing, is we ask an awful lot more questions in every single interaction. Whether it's qualitative, whether it's quantitative questions that we ask far, far, far more. And we've dashboards of data now so that we can really help our customers and our clients and our participants and everybody else as well, just to really help them understand their own maybe concerns, hopes, dreams, issues, and then we can help them even more as a result. The third thing is that I think last year was the year we became a much more data-driven business, using the analytics that we had in our sites and everything much more. But I think this year was the year that we truly upped our game in terms of digital transformation. We brought on 2 new tools. One was ClickUp for project management and Airtable as database management, and both of them have been brilliant, dramatically upped our game. And the third thing is we've very much focused as well on integration, how we could integrate all of our different apps together. So we use Slack, we use also an accounting technology as well. Like I say, ClickUp, Airtable, and a variety of others. We've also used Instagram now quite a lot as well, particularly in our programs where we're working with either virtual training or virtual MC, which is a lot at the moment. And our work experience programs with teenagers, we use Instagram now quite a bit because there's a range of really cool tools that are built into that from an interaction point of view. And of course, a lot of people in specific demographics and geographics and everything are using it. So we've really upped our game in terms of digital transformation. And if you read statistics about it, an awful lot of money is wasted because they don't optimize the technologies that they've got. And I'm not saying we're optimizing what we've got, but we paid real attention to our capability. And this is where some of my thinking time was really invested, is, going on webinars and having conversations with people from these tech tools to say, look, what do we not know that we don't know? That's a great question. And we figured out a lot along the way. Number 4 is we have been involved in peer learning now for quite some time. We have one part of our business dedicated totally towards it. And we have an algorithm that matches people based on what they know and what they want to learn. But this year, we really expanded that process out from the very beginning. So how can we engineer a truly successful learning interaction between people, right? So this isn't me training people how to read a balance sheet, for example. This is how do we enable people to learn from other people. And we've had good processes and we've had good technology, and as I say, we've designed our own technology around this. But this year we went fully end to end, everything from asking the right questions, let's say in a survey, to match people. We then built it into our algorithm, then helping people to transfer knowledge between each other in that interaction, helping people summarize their information, helping people to take tacit knowledge and make it explicit, helping people to build in a dashboard around all of that. And it's so much better. So now peer learning processes are embedded into every single thing that we do. Number 5 is, of course, I also published Money Matters. This year it was in collaboration with CFA Society Ireland, a book tailored for young people focusing on personal finance, entrepreneurship and investing. It's now in every school in Ireland, and it's also, subsequently we made it also available for general sale. And this was a project that was in the mix now. We started talking about it 3 years before it was actually published, and now it's real and it's tangible and I can hold it, you know. So that's great. But I particularly want to, the reason I'm bringing that up is because that was a really great way of bringing together a lot of ambition, because CFA Society Ireland wanted to truly democratise financial literacy. I was absolutely excited about doing anything I can to help young people and better manage their finances. I've been doing it now for a while, and obviously as well, having written the economics textbook for Leaving Cert twice with 2 teachers, I'm very passionate about that area. But then also to work with the publishers, our publisher Edco, and the schools and the teachers and students and parents, and then we ran some campaigns around expanding its reach as well. It was a really SDG 17. It was really a partnership for proper betterment of a variety of people, and where we could galvanise efforts and ambitions and resources in such a great way. So that is just something that I'm really taking into 2022 as well, is how do we manage a variety of stakeholders and get something truly tangibly done that can make a difference to people. Number 6 is a book that I read in 2020, and I took heed of a lot of messages in it, and this is the book. It's called Do Nothing. Now, I didn't like the title. I still don't like the title. And Celeste Headley, I am tagging you on this video. The reason I don't like the title is it jars against everything I believe in, right? I don't believe in doing nothing. I believe in taking great action. And that's the reason I bought it, was to see what was she going to say. 4 key things that stood out to me about it. It is actually a very good book, and I'm rereading it at the moment. And I don't like talking about books until I've read and put them into action. And there's 4 things that really stood out to me about this. And one is, she talks about how we're always doing things for a goal. And I probably, would be quite like that. But since then, I've taken up cycling this year, and not for goals, like not to have a personal best in terms of speed or anything else, just cause. And it's really great to have parts of your life that are focusing on that. The second thing is, she talks a lot about the power of recharge. And I have to say, I bought into that a lot more in recent times, particularly since we spent an awful lot more time on our screens now. But I bought into that a bit more, and I realised what was holding me back before was that I was always afraid that if I stopped doing things, then it would prevent certain results from happening. And she talks a lot about how to actually balance the power of recharge with achieving whatever goals that you have in mind together. And I also got some coaching around that as well. And now I can actually see the power of both, and I do. I recharge far more, and that gives me the energy then to think more and to think better and to work smarter and everything else. So have to thank her for that. But the third thing she talks about is the hedonic treadmill, and I really didn't like this one. This is where she kind of talks about we have this specific level of happiness, and no matter what happens, good or bad, we kind of default back to there. So I've been very fortunate this year in many ways, and I've faced a lot of challenges too, haven't we all? But I didn't want to just resort to that one level of happiness. So I've been aware of that and lifting my happiness level by being grateful and being lucky and being observant and reading what she's talking about. And the last thing she talks about is means versus end goals. Is we should always keep an eye on what we're doing, why our goals are here, and where they're actually getting us to. And it's helped me reevaluate in that regard. So here's to a great 2022, and I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, and I hope this video gives you some food for thought.